Was really to share sort of what I call my story, but it's not something that's unique to me. It's a concept that I think is very important for us as young Bahamians and young professionals to be able to grasp. I could stand here and I could share with you about the first time that I ever volunteered, the first time that I ever rendered a service to people. I could talk about back in 2009 when I went to Pinewood Urban Renewal, which is a community center in Pinewood that me and my friends volunteered at for 3 full years to attain the gold standard of GGYA. I could tell you all about how it felt for me the very first time I looked in the face of a child and thought, this little person is actually listening to what I have to say, despite my flaws, despite the things that I've done, despite the fact that I don't feel worthy to be able to have any sort of impact, because I didn't know anything about church or ministry or anything of the sort in 2009. I was just Steph. And the aim of the program was to give kids the opportunity to be involved in something positive between the hours of 3 and 5. For those of them that would have gotten off from school, but their parents weren't off from work yet to pick them up, so they just needed something to do for 2 hours. I can tell you all about the fact that I always felt like there were ways that the program can improve, and there were little pieces that were missing for different reasons. Some of them were political, and some of them I care not to share. But it was an impactful experience. It was something that changed my life for the better. And there were some things that were happening for me as a person that shaped me into the guy that you see standing before you today. But what I don't want to talk about is that feeling that I got on the inside. Because you will find yourself in many situations where you can do things that will give you some type of feeling. But what I really wanted to take it from was the fact that volunteering matters, our service to society matters, and it makes more of a difference than just that feeling that we get on the inside of, I'm helping someone. It makes more of a difference than simply giving kids something to do. But what it does is it builds on you in a professional way as well. It gives you professional legs to stand on, essentially. The reason I say that is because I feel like this is one of those links that have been missing in society for such a long time. So when I think about the fact that it all started off with me reading a book to a kid, helping a kid with their homework or doing a project for 2 hours after school on a Wednesday. And now people look at me and they're like, oh, this guy is doing so much. Like, he's the director of FLO and they're doing all these things in the community. They work with the kids at the hostel and the Elizabeth Estate Children's Home. And he's a minister at his church. And then the big thing, you know, he works at the Bahamas National Trust. And if you are around me for more than 20 minutes, you will hear me talk about Discovery Club, you will hear me talk about working with the kids, and this huge program that as someone in his early 20s has been blessed to be able to been called the program manager. So the program is called Navigators, and I'm not here to talk about it, but I think it's really relevant for me to touch on the magnitude of what I'm really doing when I go to work every day. So this is an environmental program that's training kids to do work in the outdoors and to discover special skills and to really be immersed in our national parks. And the program is, we have 21 units on 7 islands right now. So for me to say that little old Steph from Pinewood is managing this program to the benefit of thousands of young people all over the country, this and other programs, was something that was really important and really special. And while the spiritual aspects came in, I did pray and I did seek God and I did do all of those things and I tried to be a good person. The Bible says that faith without works is dead. And I think that's a principle that people use in and outside of spiritual realms. People know that you can hope for the best and you can position yourself, but one of the things that you have to do is put the work in. So what I want to do is share a little bit of my volunteer experiences and some of the opportunities that I've been afforded as someone who decided in my spare time that I was going to go out and do things that I was not going to be paid for. Because everybody knows the Bahamian dream Some people say that it's to get a Honda and to work over at Atlantis. But a lot of kids want to get a good job right out of high school. So many of my students say that what they want to do is go to school and be able to make money right away. But here's the question. How is it that you're looking for young people? And I want to answer this question for the people that may not have thought about this. We go and we apply for these jobs. They're looking for young, vibrant people between the ages of 18 and 25 to carry the company's brand. But we want 5 years of experience. We want 3 years of experience. How can you want experience from me if I'm 18 years old and I just came out of high school? How is it possible? So a lot of people think, oh, this is irrational. It makes no sense that you want me to have experience working with young people. So I got this job back in 2014, 2 years after I finished high school. And I had the experience that I needed to have this job. Because if we count from 2009 to 2014, that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 5 years I had already been in some capacity proving that I had the ability to speak to young people, to plan programs that benefited young people. They may not have been 1,000 kids on 10 islands. It may have been a small youth group at church, which does count as me giving up time that I'm not going to be paid for. It may have been me going to the Urban Renewal Center. It may have been my ability to work with an amazing organization called Young Marine Explorers, where I was a member for 3 years and then interned for 2. And you know, for some of the stuff we got a small stipend, but it couldn't amount to the work that we actually had to put in to get things done. As a member and an intern of that program, I was able to travel to the different islands of the Bahamas. I was able to participate in marine mammal research in South Abaco, in bonefish research in South Eleuthera. I was able to go to Andros and Exuma to conduct summer camps. And these are the things that I was doing fresh out of high school. Literally, I graduated in June, and these opportunities happened that same year in July. And in addition to that, I worked with a community of faith called the Baha'i Faith. Amazing people, they do so much in the community. And I decided in 2013, the following year, that I was going to give them the time that I had. I was in COB at the time. And I said, you know what, when I'm not in school, I'm going to go and work with them. And they afforded me the opportunity to travel to Barbados to participate in this amazing youth conference that changed my life forever. And not only did I participate in that, but I had the opportunity to transit through Trinidad and Panama because I didn't have my visa and I couldn't come back to the US. We left through Miami. So my eyes, as a young person, I'm not going to say my age at that time, but were open to some places that people had never been before. I went to Central America before the age of 20. I think that's a big deal because I was volunteering. In addition to that, when I got the job at BNT, when they had seen that, okay, we need him to travel, he's traveled. We need him to work with kids, he's worked with kids. We need him to plan programs. I started FLO later on that year because the inspiration that I got from the conference in Barbados pressured me to do something more. I was getting a lot of insight and leadership, spiritual and professional from church, and that just gave me that last boost that I needed to top it off and start FLO. And what we did, me and Cranston, we went to the emergency hostel, dressed down in the biggest suits. We walked from my Aunt Wonky's house, who's played such a pivotal role in the fact that I'm even standing here right now. She passed away in December, but I did want to pause to say that I'm dedicating this to her because she put in a lot of the work that got us to this point. But we walked from her house in South Beach straight to the hostel down on McKinney Drive in the hot sun because we had a vision. We wanted to give these people our time for free. We didn't ask for money. That's how FLO started. FLO didn't start with someone who's driving his car, could say, y'all come out to Power Talks and have a room of people who are actually listening to what I had to say. FLO started with a black and white book and 2 young black Bahamian men. And we went and we sold them that dream as though we knew exactly what we were talking about when this would have been the first time that we had ever worked with kids like that. And I'm like, Mom, we don't have a program written out, but what we want to do is assess your needs. We want to see what the problems are. And while that was me marketing myself and marketing this new organization, it actually turned out to be one of the best decisions that I ever made in my life, to bring programs to people that met their needs, as opposed to writing a program and hoping that it fit. So when I interviewed at the Bahamas National Trust, They saw that experience. They saw the need for that, and they saw the energy behind the young person that was able to deliver that program. So I got the job. And because of the job, I gained skills that went back into FLO. I gained skills that went back into church. I gained skills that went back into every single thing that I did. But what I want to pause and say is the sad thing. The action that I want everyone to take, the power action, is to volunteer. And I'm going to talk more about a specific opportunity that I want you to take up. But I want you to think about it like this. We have been brought up in a culture that has a lot of beautiful aspects and a lot of beautiful features. But this culture has also taught us that some things that are actually good are not Bahamian. How many times do you hear about volunteering or working with kids or doing this sort of thing? Oh, that's a white people thing. Oh, that's a US thing. We don't do that kind of thing over here. We're trying to focus on feeding our own families and making our own money. But if someone really wanted to help you, and they knew that just like me, I'm no one special, because I decided to give my time, my own time, with expecting nothing in return, to help some people out, or to do what I was interested in, that it would come back to me. If we had people out there that would tell us, that would tell this upcoming generation that it's okay for you to sacrifice and not look for something in return. And I don't just mean in love and in the virtues, but what I mean is in actual service. It's okay for you to go out and to do something to make a difference. Then I think the Bahamas would be a much different and a much better place. And the sad thing is that we like to believe that we have to leave. No offense to anybody that wants to leave, because there are amazing opportunities in other countries, but don't dispute the fact that there are things that you can do right here in the Bahamas. Even though the environmental field has grown, back in 2009, it was not what it is today. There weren't opportunities that were just splattered on Facebook. You didn't see people talking about the beach and the trees and the snakes. It was taboo for a Bahamian to hold a snake. And if you have me on Facebook or WhatsApp, you've seen 10 million photos of me holding snakes. That sort of thing did not happen. So I had to find the opportunity for myself. You're interested in the medical field, go volunteer at the hospital. They will gladly take people who are willing to help. Go volunteer at Sunderland's, which is still a part of the Public Hospitals Authority. If you're interested in gaining more experience as a young lawyer, for example, there are so many organizations like FLO that could use legal advice. And you giving your time to advise, even a church or anywhere, is something that you can put on your resume, and people will see that, and they will count that as experience. So what I want you to think about is this. We have this amazing opportunity coming up on the 28th of April. We have a few plans that are up in the air, but we're looking to work with a different type of underprivileged child. Now I know there are some people that aren't interested in working with children, but this is your opportunity to step out on a limb if you're interested. I usually don't beg people because I think we have a phenomenal team and we're capable of doing it, but I want to extend the invitation to everybody who's been before, everybody who's watching, everybody who's never been to a FLO event, and we plan to work with kids that have Down syndrome just to help raise awareness about that cause. So I really admonish you to come out and try it, because interacting with us is going to do more than just help those kids, but we can give you some insight on what volunteering has done for us. I've shared just a little bit of my story, and for every person that is a part of FLO and otherwise, because I typically hang out with voluntary people, they will have something valuable that will be able to give you the boost that you need to understand that this could really make the difference in where you go in your career. So I hope that that inspires you. I hope that that gives you something to think about. I know it's short, but what I really want you to do is to take time out and to consider what I'm talking about, and to consider the areas where you may be stuck or thinking there's more for you, that there's some other things that you could or should be doing, and try it. You will be amazed at how much you learn about yourself, the impact that you make, and how far it will cost you to go in your career in the future. So thank you. God bless you.